Hi, everybody there, whoever is watching us right now. I'm Kirsten. I'm the head of the German Tarot Association, not the Astrology Association. And I am talking today to lovely Alison Cross. Hi, Alison.
Hello.
Hi. Yes, Alison was the head of the British Tarot Association, and we're going to talk a little bit about this, but then we also want to talk about interesting stuff like tarot cards. So I hope you all will ask questions if you have questions about Alison's work, about the associations and something else we're going to talk about. Just put them in the comments and I will tell Alison your questions, because she has to focus on answering mine. And for anybody German out there, Alison is from Scotland, so she has an accent. And she makes an effort to speak really slowly so we all can understand her. Yes, Alison. Great that you're with me. I'm very pleased. We met, I think, about 3 years ago at a conference in Birmingham.
Yes, the TABi conference, yeah.
Exactly. And I was there to see how you're doing the conferences, and I'm also actually a member of TABi. So I was very curious, and it was a really great convention. And you were the chairman. When did you stop being the chairman?
I think I stopped being the chair in around 2012. I can't really remember. That's the honest truth, because I became chairman for 2-year periods, and then every now and again I would have to do a year to replace somebody that had left. So I think it's about 2012. In fact, I think I started the blog when I stopped being the chairman of TABi, I think. So yeah, that's when it ended. So I was chairperson for about 8.5 years in total, over a long period of time.
Yeah, I've been now for 7 years head of the German association, and I can understand that you want to quit the job at one point.
It's very time consuming.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, if you devote your time to it, it doesn't leave much time for your actual tarot work.
Yeah, actually, yeah, you're right. This is something I'm considering as well. When was TABi founded?
Oh, I think that might have been around 2002, something like that. Now, if I had known there was going to be these questions, I would have done some homework.
I'm sorry, it doesn't really matter, but it was already in the 21st century, basically.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
It was. I mean, some of the founding members are still members of TABi, so that's good.
Well, who are the founding members?
Oh gosh, I think there was. See,
sorry.
If I miss somebody out now, then I'll get aroused. So I'll just say they're still there. They're still there.
Okay.
Still active.
Is it like in Germany? In Germany, you have to have 7 people to found an organization.
In the UK, it depends how your organisation is constituted. So I think we need to have 4 or 5 for a quorum. So for like our AGM, for example, we need to have a certain number of board members there. But for the actual running of it, we rely so heavily on volunteers. The volunteers in TABi are first class. You'll have volunteers in your organisation too. They offer, they do training, they do mentoring for people. We have we have a blog that is run by volunteers, and the conference is run by volunteers too. So, and you know, all the main roles like treasurer, secretary, training instructor, the people that are in charge of the free readings service that we offer, they're all volunteers. So it's fantastic. Thank you, all the volunteers. Thank you.
You wanted to also to know a little bit about the German association. Yeah. So we were founded in 2003. So approximately the same time as yours, and we were founded by Hajo Banzaf and Brigitte Thieler. Perhaps you know Hajo Banzaf, he is internationally known, and yeah, we progressed now. After his death, we survived, which was difficult because there were a lot of people who were just in the association because of Hajo, obviously. But now we are more or less organized as an association to be a kind of lobby for the Tarot tribe, I would say. So we would like to make Tarot more appreciated in society. And we also try to give people tools how they can work. We have a code of ethics that people have to sign in order to distinguish us from something like these hotlines and Astro Talk on TV and whatever. So this is kind of what we are trying to do as a vision. And is this the same why you were founded?
Yes, we were founded for all the reasons that you mentioned there. It was to provide companionship for each other, to have a standard. So we have a code of ethics too. Our code of ethics has been used by other groups as the basis of their code of ethics, which is great. We try to promote high standards. So if you're a member of TABi, what we would hope would be that if anybody ever had to complain about your service, your tarot service, that there was somebody to complain to, which would be us, the governing, you know, the body, the membership body. That doesn't happen though. All our members are very good. Oh, I sounded like Donald Trump there. Very good. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, we only had once a case where somebody was not working according to the codex. But usually, if you sign such a thing and if you go into an association in order to promote ethical behavior, you're probably not going to not adhere to the rules, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So interesting. About the same time, same idea. And for anybody out there who doesn't know what TABi means, it means Tarot Association of the British Isles. So it's all encompassing the British Isles, I take it.
Yes. Yep.
How many members do you have?
Gosh, I haven't been chairman for a long time, so I couldn't really tell you what the membership numbers are, but they're usually healthy. And we take members from all over the world. So we have good relationships with other tarot organizations such as yourself and the ATA and our colleagues in Australia and all over the place. So we try to provide on the forum, we work from a forum. We have different areas where you can talk about new decks, so you can study decks together. We fundraise, we do quite a lot of fundraising for different disasters in the world. We like to show the world that tarot people are good people, and that it's not a fraudulent business, it's not a deceptive business. If you get somebody from a membership organization like TABi or your group.
Yeah, exactly. So anybody can join. You said foreigners can join as well. Well, yeah. Obviously they can because I joined. And for anybody out there who wants to join, it's really not expensive to join. I think it's about, is it only 10 quid a year? No.
Yeah, it's £10. I'm not sure what that is in euros, but it's £10.
Yeah, but it is differently it's structured from the German Tarot Association. So you're basically doing everything online. The communication is done via a forum, I think. But I really don't ever join because I don't have the time. I'm so sorry.
Don't apologize. You're busy.
Yes, it's really, every time I think, oh, I need to go into the forum, but I never manage. That's why I don't have all the information. You said, when I asked you, why should people join you? I mean, we already heard that you are also promoting ethical card readings, but what are other reasons to join you?
We try to run a training group about once a year. And it's a training group that's really for people who are at the beginning of their tarot journey. So we take people that are beginners, and using Joan Bunning's book, which is called Learn Tarot, we had permission to use her book as the foundation for our training course. We lead people through all the exercises, and all that is done by volunteers, and it's very labour intensive. So that's why it tends to be just once per annum that we run that. So that's provided as part of the membership fee, so that's £10. Another thing that we do is we take part in orders, group orders for privately printed decks that we find all over the world, and that normally results in quite a good financial saving for people too, because it's one lot of postage to the UK, and then we can post out from that one address. So it's not 20 lots of international postage, it's just one. So
that's actually a brilliant idea. I would like to steal for the German Tarot Association.
You steal it.
But perhaps we can talk later on about how you do this, because
yes, no problem.
This is something people would be really interested in here as well. When do you do this these printed decks? Because I never ever learned about it.
about the group order. Is it
announced in the forum, or where is it? Okay,
yes.
so I have
our Facebook page is open to people who are not TABi members, paid members. So any announcements about training or special offers would take place in the forum first of all. But the last order that we did was for Lenormand by Alexander Danilov, which I don't have here. My desk is covered in tarot. Hold on.
Ja, für alle kann ich auch. Alison is back.
This one.
Oh, yeah, that's lovely.
It's very nice. Okay. So this was printed privately, and so we bought 10 copies for our members. It's really lovely if you like these kinds of decks.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, it's really nice to use. Yeah. So we've got an order in now for his next one. And so that's what we do that too. Yeah, so privately printed books and decks and special offers. We have a shop, an online shop too for members that it's just a pop-up shop. It doesn't operate all the time. So
yeah, I remember, yeah.
What do you do for your members?
Well, we also try to connect people. This is one of our aims. So right now I'm trying to do the live chats and bring international people to the German world. But we have in many cities organized meeting places, Stammtische, and people can come there, join, talk about tarot. This is one thing we do, but it's obviously also open for people who are not in the association. So just a place where people can chat in person with other people. Once a year, we organize what we call the Tarot Sunday, and it's organized like your conference, but it is for members very cheap. So we take more money. We take 70 euros a year. But if you want to go to the conference, it's basically included. So you would pay 10 more euros, and other people who want to join the conference have to pay much more. And it's usually we have really good guests. I mean, it's really kind of the same as you do in Bristol. No, was it Bristol? Birmingham.
It was Birmingham.
Exactly. Social media killed the forums, says Marion. So yeah, we had tried to have a forum in our association, but it didn't work out. Hajo Banzaf had a really big tarot forum called Tarot.de, but after he died, this was bought by Questico, which is a major hotline, not such a great hotline, and and after that the forum kind of deteriorated, but we couldn't rework this, and then came the social media. Nobody went into forums anymore. But if we still had this forum, which was founded around 2000, I guess we would also be very active all in forums. Which is a pity. Yeah, so that's basically what we do. We try to give people advice, as I said, how they can promote themselves. We have a Prüfung. What's a Prüfung? You can do a certification with us. And then you have the quality certification that you have been tested by us, that you're ethical, which is something also we do. And yeah, I think right now that's about it. We've gone through some quite difficult times with Hajo's death, who was always the chairman, and after that there was a lot of difficulties, people with different opinions. And I think now, after 7 years of me being the Merkel of the society, it's settled down, and people can now be more productive again. I think. But speaking of decks, you said you are working for quite a lot of well-known tarot artists from Britain, like Kathleen Matthews and John Matthews. And you mentioned to me that you discovered quite a lot of fake decks happening. And I'm quite sure that not so many Germans are aware of this. Perhaps you can tell us a bit about that.
Yes, certainly. I work mostly with Mark Ryan, who is behind the Wildwood Tarot, which he created with John Matthews. But I have worked with John and Kathleen and Will Worthington and Jane Struthers and other people. But what we noticed on the website was that I was getting lots of emails coming in and people saying, hi, can you send me the book? Can you send me a PDF of the book? And sometimes it was just that request, and then other times there were big long stories with why there was no book. And I thought, this is quite strange. So Mark started to investigate it, and what we discovered was that there were thousands of counterfeit, fake Wildwood tarots and lots of other very popular tarot decks being sold on the Wish platform and eBay and Amazon too. So the big sales platforms had these, and they were selling them for very little money. So Mark and I talked about it, and I bought, with his approval, a counterfeit deck, which is this.
Okay.
So I then made a video about the difference between the fake wildwood and the real one. And this is my German one I brought out specially for you. So you can see that the cards are very different in size.
Can you hold it up a bit?
Yeah, sure. So that's them, that's the size.
Also different colors. Is it the same color quality and paper quality?
It's not the same paper quality. I don't know what the different paper weights are, but the difference when you hold the two decks up side by side, the proper Wildwood Tarot is thicker by about a dozen cards, 10 cards, something like that. Mm-hmm. The fake one is thinner, and it's very bendy. It's very bendy. So I did a video that showed the difference between the counterfeit, the fake deck, and the real deck. And then I wrote an article for one of the tarot magazines called the Esoterical, which is a new British magazine. I think that's Kim Arnold and Stephen Bright.
I've talked about this with Kim. She was here live as well.
Okay. So you know that then.
You know that.
I wrote an article for them, and I spoke to US Games, and they were talking about what a problem it is, and also Karen Manny from Baba Studios in Ireland. Yeah. And so that was like a small niche printing house that works just on their own products, and a big international one, and they both suffer from fake decks. So what happens is people buy the fake deck, and so there's less money being spent on the real decks, and it's just a spiral to the bottom, really. So to buy the fake decks, they're very, very cheap. But when you buy a fake deck, you're putting money into the pocket of somebody who's a criminal. And the artist that you love doesn't get any money at all.
It's horrible. But yeah. In the video, you show us how we really can differentiate between these two decks.
Yes.
Because you buy them online. So you also demonstrate perhaps which websites we're not supposed to go to, or...
Yeah, it tends to be the websites that are in the Far East. So Wish tends to be the worst platform, but eBay is also quite bad. Okay. So when you go onto eBay and you are looking for a tarot deck and you type it in and you see that tarot deck being sold for €7, or in my case, £5, and you can buy 20 of them for that price, and there's no book, then it's a fake.
Okay.
So you're handing your money over to people that could be criminals in all sorts of other areas of life. Okay. You know, exploiting the environment. I'm sure they don't pay the people that work for them very well. So, you know, women, children, they could be involved in all sorts of horrible parts of modern criminal gang life.
Yeah. Bad. So I will look at this video and also post it on our association's site so people can have a look at this, because I'm quite sure not many people are aware of this, because there are always some sales or whatever, and you don't really think about it, I think, when you buy a deck like this. I must say I wouldn't. Now that comes to my mind that I bought a Druidcraft deck about 10 years ago in Glastonbury. and it was not very expensive. I thought it was a sale. Perhaps
No, if you bought it from a shop.
Yeah, I bought it in a shop.
Yeah, it's probably all right.
Okay.
It tends to be the online retailers, and if it was about 10 years ago, it's probably a proper legitimate copy of the text.
Exactly. So anybody who wants to watch the video before I post it, where are they supposed to find this video?
You can find it on my YouTube channel, which is called Tarot Thrones. But Tarot Thrones. But if you type into the YouTube search bar, fake versus genuine Wildwood, it'll bring it up.
Tarot Thrones is easier, to be honest. Yes, Tarot Thrones. So you have this YouTube channel, but you also have a blog.
I do, yes. So it's a blog that focuses mainly on court cards.
Exactly. And Tarot Thrones is a really catchy title. And I, of course, thought of Game of Thrones when I read this title. And then I looked when came Game of Thrones out. And this was the first series was out in 2011. And your blog started in 2012, right? Yeah. So is there a connection?
There is and there isn't. Obviously, Game of Thrones would have been perfect to call my blog. I would love to have called it Game of Thrones, but I did not want to end up in the law courts. So I picked something that was similar, and I also had a link to the proper Game of Thrones information, because my blog isn't actually anything to do with the TV series. I just like the name Game of Thrones. So it actually started off life called The Other Game of Thrones, This Other Game of Thrones. So not that Game of Thrones, another Game of Thrones. And then it just got shortened to Tarot Thrones. So
and you focus obviously with Thrones on court cards. So why is that? How did you come up to think about court cards?
Well, I didn't like court cards. I didn't like when they came up in readings. I used to panic. And when I stopped being chair of TABi, and everybody at the time was starting a blog, that was what people were doing. And I thought, does the world really need another tarot blog? What could I do that would be different? And I thought, well, everybody hates court cards, so I'll write about court cards. And then once I started working with them, like really studying them and thinking about them a lot, I just loved them. And I use them for all sorts of things. I try to think up different exercises and ways of thinking about them that will help other people. And so on the blog, for example, you can see which of the Star Trek characters, which king is which Star Trek character. So which king is Dr. Spock, and which king is Captain Kirk and McCoy and Bones. So Scotty, of course. So there's fun things like that. So that if you're working with the cards and you don't know how to describe a card to somebody, but you remember that the King of Swords is quite like Spock, for example, then you can say to your sitter, you know, Spock in Star Trek, well, this character's quite like that. He's very logical and not emotional, and depends on his brain for what he trusts in life. So that's an easy way to do it.
I think you have to do an update for the Generation Y for this.
Yeah, that dates me terribly, doesn't it? Yeah.
For my son, who is 11 now, you probably have to do some Minecraft comparisons.
never even thought of that. I could ask my own son. I'll ask my own son how that would work.
Yeah, but it's a good idea to update it for the next generations, isn't it?
Yeah, and hopefully it'll inspire people to make their own associations.
Yeah, yeah.
So I did that for the Kings in Star Trek, but you could also do it with the Three Musketeers and D'Artagnan as well, you know, from classical literature. And yeah, there's lots of different groups of 4 people tend to have those energies. That's what makes them work together as a group.
So how is your approach to court cards? I mean, people are always confused about whether it's a person from the outside or whether it has to do with myself, whether it's just some character within me. That's what I often hear. Do you have a certain approach on this?
What I tend to do is, because people can get into a panic, is it me? Is it somebody that my sitter knows? Is it the energy roundabout? When you start to think, which one is it? And you don't know, it's a stranger that's sitting in front of you. You don't know what this card, whether it pertains to them or somebody they know, or the energy roundabout the scenario. So the first thing that I would advocate is I would speak to the client and say, you know, ask them, you can ask them, what does this card mean to you? And then if they can speak about it and they own the information about it, then it makes it easier for you then to start to talk about it. If they look at a court card and they don't see anything, then depending on if it's a big spread of cards and the court card is near the beginning of the reading, I would then try to work out what the story is for the reading without looking at the court card, and leave the court card to one side. And if you can build up a story for the other cards with your client, it may be at that point then easier to go back to the court card and speak about it naturally. But if I was in any doubt, the first thing I would say is, these guys are really quite tricky. They can mean one or more of 3 things, and speak with your client and work it out between you, because your client is there for you to provide a good service. You're not there to perform a magic trick. So they want as much information from your reading as possible, so they will help you with that information.
Yeah, I feel that many people beginning to do tarot readings are really hesitant to ask the clients something, because they expect that the clients expect that they should know everything. And some clients obviously do want this, but I think just in the line of ethical work, it's much more healthy to ask people what they really want to get out of this reading, and obviously ask questions about the circumstances. So this is also something which I find very important. Good idea. Yeah. You just showed us, sorry?
Sorry, I'll carry on, Kirsten. What were you going to say?
No, you just showed us a deck from the Marseille deck card.
Yes.
So you always do readings with Marseille?
No. At the conference we were both speaking at a couple of weekends ago, which was the World Divination Association conference. Lovely to see you there, by the way.
Thank you.
I did a session on easy techniques to read with Marseille court cards, because Marseille decks are increasing in popularity, and they have full-length court cards and they're very good images. So I thought I would just use those cards, but it is a technique that you could use with other full-length court figures. Modern decks tend to have a large book that comes with it, you know, so that's the Wildwood Tarot's book.
Yeah.
Okay, so a modern deck would have a large book, and it will tell you what a court card means. if you're using an old deck, then it probably doesn't have too much information about what a court card means. So at the session last Saturday, I was talking about different ways that you can break the card down and just look at it as a picture. Just treat it exactly the same way as you would do. You wouldn't panic if a major arcana card came up in a reading. You would know what to say. And if a minor arcana card came up in a reading, you would know what to say. So I don't think we should panic. When a court card comes up in a reading, I think you should be able to talk about the card in exactly the same way. So that's what I was doing last Saturday. So I don't use them all the time. I tend to use my Alexander Danilov tarot, which is,
I seem
to give him quite a lot of plugs, but that's a really pretty tarot.
Oh, that's sweet. Yeah, you were okay. That was the Hierophant, right?
It was, yes.
Yeah, okay.
It's a Rider-Waite-Smith type deck.
The other thing people find muddling, and I myself find muddling about the court cards, is that we have two different systems. So we have the Waite system, which is Page, Knight, Queen, and King, and then we have the Crawley system, which is Princess, Prince, Knight, and Queen. Do you work with these differences somehow?
Because I tend to work mostly with Rider-Waite-Smith type decks or a Marseille type deck, not really so much with the Crowley style deck. But so many modern decks change all the court cards anyway.
Right.
You don't always get Page, Knight, Queen, King. Sometimes you can get, Inventor or Teacher or, oh gosh, the...
Son and Daughter.
Yeah, so I don't get caught up in the differences in the systems. I try to read the card just as it presents itself to me. It's quite difficult to explain, but once you get into the hang of it, and I am writing a book about court cards just now, which will contain everything that I have thought about since 2012 about court cards, different ways to use them, how to use elements within the court cards to help you talk about the cards, and and splitting the card into the 4 body parts, which is what I did at the session a couple of weeks ago.
You split them into body parts. Sorry, yeah. I didn't see your talk because I was preparing.
Let me explain. It might be a technique that your people find useful.
Yes.
So what I do is with the Marseille, I divide it into the head, the upper body, the torso,
yes,
the hands, and the groin to the feet.
Okay.
Okay. So the head energy is where we communicate. So it's our voice and our ears and our expressions. So our emoticons on our face. How we communicate with the world is through our head. That's where our brain is. It's where we think. It's where our mind is. So for me, that is the kind of swords sort of energy.
Mm-hmm.
Then in the upper body, that's where our heart is. And so for me, that's where the cups energy is, because that is about our relationships with other people, our emotions, our relationship with ourselves, our feelings about our own self. And then the hands are where we interact with the world, we give and we take. So that's where our possessions are, and that's our pentacle energy. And then from the groin to the feet, that's where our wands energy is. So that's our action, our passion, and our adventure, our going in the world. Yeah. So what I do is I split the card up. I look at the card in those sections and then speak about each section. So And I also, so for this card, this is the example card that I used in the session. He's looking towards the future. Oh, that's me. I'm leaning on my keyboard.
Okay.
He's looking towards the future. The top of his head is cut off by the card border. So that might mean he's open to outside influences, or even the card that's lying above him in the spread. You can't see this character's heart at all. So what does that mean? You might want to say something about that. He's holding his wand very awkwardly. So it looks like he doesn't have an awful lot of experience with his raw materials. He's walking towards the future. Both his feet are going this direction. So he's very much a forward focused character. So I would speak about the card like that. And I would then, if I was asking people to study the cards, I would then look at this card with the other page cards, the other valets, and see how he's unique. He is the only page that looks towards the future. Excuse me. And then I would compare him to his family members, the other people in the Baton family. And then I would make up stories between him and the other court cards. You know, what are they looking at? You know, you can make up a story from them. He's looking at her. What happens when they go back to back? You know, they're looking in different directions. She's looking towards the past. He's looking towards the future. So you can build up stories about them that don't have, they don't depend upon whether it is the sitter or somebody known to the sitter or the energies round about the situation. They just exist within the spread itself.
I really like this. I've never thought of this. It's excellent. It's a really good thing to do. And you can also do this with other cards. You don't only have to do this with court cards, right?
That's true, but it's especially useful with court cards because that's the one that you tend to struggle to know what to say about them. So I tend not to think of them as, you know, a blonde, fair-haired woman. I don't think of these things with the court cards because they're too restricting. Because in the Marseille deck, everybody is white for a start. So you don't want to think about the ethnicity of the person or the sex of the person. So a man can be a queen, can exhibit queenly energy, and a woman can exhibit kingly energy. They are just states of energy. They don't mean a woman or a man.
Yeah,
so
obviously. Yeah.
That helps keep things nice and open in your reading.
That's what I meant when I said, do you approach tarot cards like it's something within us? So different shades of our personality.
I do think that one of the ways that you can use them is, I think we have all 16 court cards inside us.
Yeah.
I wrote a blog post about the link between the court cards and the tower card. So the tower card's number 16, and we have 16 court cards.
That's interesting. Sorry, I'm just, go on, sorry.
So for me, I believe we have all the 16 court cards and they make up the bricks in our tower.
Wow.
That is us. So for some people, their Queen of Cups will be a huge brick in their tower, and the Page of Pentacles will only be a tiny little pebble. But for somebody else, it'll be completely different. And so when the tower falls, we get a chance to reorder all the court cards. You don't need to be the same person all your life. So I am a particular sort of person when I'm talking to my mother. It's not, you know, it's not a good person, but there you go. And I'm a different person when I'm talking to my son, and I'm a different person when I'm with my friends, and so on. So these are all the different bricks in the tower, all the different roles that we play, all the different court cards that we are roles that we play. And sometimes they'll be very prominent and sometimes they'll be very small.
So in this context, what does it mean that the tower falls?
It means you get a chance you're no longer constrained by the roles that you have built for yourself or that other people have built for you. So you get to, it's terrible when the tower falls, it's catastrophic. It means that at least one of those roles has gone. So perhaps a parent dies, or you become divorced, or you lose your job. Some way that you identify yourself goes, and you no longer have that big brick in your wall. And so the tower crumbles and falls, and you can rebuild and hopefully build something that is more authentic to you as you are now today, rather than what somebody thought of you 30 years ago or 40 years ago.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, I really like this. So we should put in the 4 there as well, I think, because we have 4 suits with 4 cards. Mm-hmm. And the 4 times 4 is 16. I have to think about this. It's an excellent idea, and it's obviously worthwhile to look into tarot cards for about 8 years or so. I mean, about court cards. Amazing. Yeah.
And another thing that I suggest, and that I will be in the book, is the other bit of information that you've got on your court card is the rank and the suit. Mm-hmm. So you will have in your head, you will have an idea of what the queen is. You will have keywords in your head about what a queen is like.
Yeah.
Mother energy, teaching, guardianship, perhaps. And you will also have keywords in your head that you associate with the suits, in this case, swords. So if you take, if you think swords are about logic and thought processes or communication, grief, if you take the keywords, a keyword for queen and a keyword for swords, and smack them together, you will come up with a phrase. And it might be a rubbish phrase, it might not mean anything at all, but you might just get a good phrase that makes you think about what that character is like.
Yeah.
So for example, if it was the page of wands, pages are small, minor, not very important really. And if you think that wands or batons are to do with adventure, if he came up, he could indicate a small new adventure. And that's just smashing those words together. And I use that quite a lot.
It's really good. So when is your book finished?
Oh, I don't know. I keep starting again.
Pity. Will you publish it in print, or will it be an ebook?
It will be an ebook to start off with, but I might make it a paper book at the same time, because I'll just be publishing it myself. It'll just be through Kindle publishing, I would think. So
you already wrote other books, you said, right?
Yes.
What did you write?
I have written 2 other ebooks. One is called Tarot Kaizen, which is that's 100 exercises that helps you take a really nice deck that you maybe don't use at all because you just can't be bothered thinking about it. But you do one exercise a day, and at the end of the 110 exercises, you will know that deck inside out. So we do all these kinds of exercises, you know, about the the keywords for page and the keywords for wands, but obviously it's for all the cards in the deck, and there's lots of spreads and comparisons and there's just so many exercises available in it. But what you can do is you can dip in and out. So if you bought a new deck and the only part of it you're struggling with is the court cards, you could just do the court cards exercises. Or if you're struggling with the difference between the Emperor and the Hierophant in your new deck, you could just do those exercises. So you can use it whatever way works for you.
It's just a kind of workbook with practical exercise.
Yeah. It's a practical book.
Yeah.
The other one is to do with the Wildwood Tarot. So if I am an admin on the Wildwood Tarot's Facebook page, and I started to write lots of posts for all the cards, just to give the fans of the Wildwood Tarot something else to read. And eventually I made them into an ebook. So it's called A Year in the Wildwood, and it goes round the wheel of the year in the company of all the cards in the Wildwood Tarot in the order that you encounter them on the wheel of the year. Wow. So it's fun.
Yeah, I'm noting all this down because I will, after this talk, put everything, all the links into the title, into the subject line of this talk. I'm just checking whether there are any questions. Mm-hmm. No, there are not really any questions right now.
Good.
But interest in this pirate thing, that we should be more aware about this, which I'm sure many people are really not. So very good that you brought this up. I will definitely post this link, and I will obviously link to your own homepage, your blog.
Thank you.
Sounds excellent, all the stuff you're doing there. And to my shame, I haven't read much of it, but I made a subscription today, so I will be from now on informed and read everything.
Thank you. You don't have to do that, but thank you.
No, I'm really interested in this. I myself have a blog as well. In Germany, there are not so many tarot blogs at all, so right. I try also to post stuff from other people there.
Do you write in German? Do you write in German?
I write in German because I want to do something for the German community. But when I find something interesting from outside, I bring it onto this blog. So I will definitely post this exercise with the tarot, with the court cards there. It's really great, Alison. I will link to it, obviously. There is Caroline is there and saying, thank you both. Great talk. You know, Caroline. And I'm sure many other people watched, but are too shy to answer, to ask questions.
If anybody has any questions about court cards that they want to ask in the comments, I'll be able to see the comments on Facebook, yes, so I could answer their questions on Facebook in the comments.
If you can do this, and anybody out there who's interested in the Wildwood Tarot should definitely go to the fan page of the deck. I didn't know there was a fan page either.
There's a fan page, and there is also a study group.
Good Lord. Okay. Yeah. I know some people who really like the Wildwood Tarot. I am not really aware of it, I have to confess. Woods are not really my main subject. I'm more, I stay at home and read. I use wood for paper.
Well, you'll be right at home then with all the lockdown then, if you're stuck at home reading books.
After the lockdown, I will be walking through the wild woods.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's already an hour we have talked now. It was we chatted away. It was really, really lovely to talk to you, Alison.
It was great. Thank you so much for inviting me to be involved. It's been lovely to speak to you again properly.
Yes, I think so too. And hopefully I can come to the next conference in Birmingham. You didn't do one anyway this year, right?
That's right. We're not doing one this year, but I just saw today that I think that they may be trying to do some sort of virtual conference in some way. So, but I don't have any other details on it. So I don't know who the speakers are or anything, but I noticed that the chairman, Katie, she mentioned that today. So fingers crossed, more stuff online for us all to access.
There's also a Facebook group for TABi, obviously, where you can join, and you can invest in this association. It's not so dear. And you can then go to a lovely conference. There's Louisa there as well, and Julie saying hi.
Hi, hi back, you too.
But no more questions. So I think we stop for today. We can rejoin at another point. I see my son coming there. He's coming from
mine. Well, thank you very much, Kirsten. I really appreciate it.
Yes, it was a pleasure. And everybody out there, you know where to find Alison, obviously, but I will also still post everything about Alison. Sorry that the online going didn't work out as I planned. That's life. Okay. Bye.
Bye.